Oh, is it me? I'm the elf girl.
The TOS.
Oh,
There's a
did you miss
TOS.
this, boy?
What's up, guys? My name is Josh, otherwise known as Xell, and with me,
I'm Crim, also known as the Asian Avenger.
and we are the Nii-San
Podcast.
Boom! You're not even trying. Come
I think
on.
I did it.
You're leaving me hanging there. You
This
like
is
one
not
armed
the week. This is just not the week. I thought I was close.
Okay, well, do better.
I'll try. It's okay.
Anyways.
It's okay.
This is a podcast talking about anime, and this week we are going to be talking about the anime that's currently airing. So last week we took a break from that and talked about our favorite older anime, since, you know, we are the Nii-Sans, we're a little older, so talking about some of the oldies that are still goodies. But today we're going to talk about the anime that's currently airing, but before that we have some news to go over. So first up, this is a really important news. And that is that
we had
Russia,
to get this to you. We have to get this to
Russia is banning anime that have isekai for promoting the idea of reincarnation. Whoa, what a story!
That's absolutely wild, right? Like, I'm curious why that, like, so what's wrong with I don't know, maybe that's opening a can of worms, but like that's a whole nother discussion, but what?
I just assume it's a Russia thing.
So
they're just like, no.
So if I'm in Russia, I would, and I'm like, yo, I know a guy, and then we meet in an alley, and he's just gonna open up his trench coat like the vendor in Resident Evil 4. What, you know, what you buying? And like, and inside will just be, I got your ReZero, I got your dot hack, I got your sword arts. What you need?
Like, I needed one of that hit of Mishioku Tensei, please. I've been down for some.
Like that's the thing, right? That's what's gonna happen. Like you cannot. That is apparently an illegal action that you have just taken by watching those shows, right?
Yeah.
They're banned there, but are they enforcing it if they catch you watching it?
I really don't know how this whole thing works. All I can say is that maybe Russian anime fans are actually going to be better off with isekai not being part of their regular anime diet. You know,
oh damn,
like,
dude.
We've all been asking for anime that's not just another isekai, you know, thing. And Russia's like Russia government's like, all right, we got you.
We heard you.
We're just
going to
ban it.
Banned.
I mean, no. In all seriousness, I'm appalled that that's the line that they chose. They're like, no, we don't want people talking about reincarnation because Russia is Christian. I don't actually know. It's like Russia. What is? I have no idea what Russians' culture is besides wearing tracksuits and like being on really high buildings. That's like the only thing
American,
I know about Russia.
So we obviously the stereotypes of us not knowing anything outside of like what's like 3 feet in front of us.
Yeah, that's the. I literally have no idea, and so like. For me, I'm kind of like, oh, I guess culturally, maybe they find the idea offensive or whatever. And so they're like, okay, this is the stand that we're going to take. But does that mean that they have to ban, like, what are other movies that have reincarnation as part of a part of the thing? I mean, a Space Jam?
We confirmed
Wait, no, Michael Jordan doesn't die in Space Jam.
No, but like, I think it's kind of like getting reincarnated because I think in like Twitch chat, we've confirmed that Space Jam is an isekai. Right? So if Space Jam's an isekai, is then Space Jam not banned?
Yeah. Well, so specifically though, the idea of reincarnation, because that's the point that Russia is upset about.
Right.
So I mean, Space Jam, I mean, does Michael Jordan just gets knocked out, right? And that's how it all starts?
It's been like 20 years, dude. But
dude,
I'm
it's
pretty
been
sure.
a long time.
Well, I mean, yeah, if you all know the exact specifics behind it, we'd love to hear more in detail, like why, how, and all that. Drop it in the subreddit, whatever.
Anyways, yeah, just let us know, and I apologize for my slightly inappropriate comments about Russian culture because I literally have no idea. I just don't know anything.
We'll find out.
So, anyways, yeah, we'll find out. The next piece of news is that Demon Slayer movie Mugen Train is spreading across the United States like wildfire. It is, I think, Crim, you were talking about it before, that potentially bigger than Mortal Kombat, almost bigger than Mortal Kombat on its opening weekend.
Yeah, like opening weekend, Mortal Kombat barely beat it. And don't get me wrong, I love me some Mortal Kombat, and I actually haven't seen the new Demon Slayer movie, although I hear it's really good. It had a very powerful opening. Now, I don't know what that necessarily means when you think of like what box office numbers look like in a pandemic world, right? Like it's like, well, like like where are they pulling all the numbers from and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I myself am also a little bit curious about that. But for an animated movie to like kind of like pretty much go toe to toe with like, you know, like any non-animated movie like that, and I don't mean like Pixar animated, I mean like an anime movie, that means a lot. That means a lot. That also means how, first off, we can confirm that Demon Slayer is even bigger than we thought it was.
Yeah, I mean, so the thing was is that like I when it was only in Japan, it was like, oh, it beat out Spirited Away. It beat out, you know, these big heavy hitting anime movies that, you know, and so I was like, well, that's Japan. I don't know how it's going to do in the US. And then hearing that, though, that it's like comparable to some of these other things, and it's not a Studio Ghibli movie. It's not a Pixar film. Yeah. And it's like a very traditional anime film, and it's doing numbers like that. That's crazy to me. Like, we live in an anime society now, you know?
We're mainstream.
Yeah, I mean, we're there. I feel like, right? Like how at this point, I feel like this is really showing like how big anime has gotten, and like I don't know if anime is necessarily mainstream yet, but it feels like we're basically there. We're on the footsteps of being mainstream, and that's crazy to me.
I think we are. I would say like, anime's pretty close, if not already mainstream, right? I mean, when you think about like how like Urban Outfitters and places like that already sell anime merch. I guess it used to be like years, right? Until we saw like by the time, you know, like I had already seen One Punch Man and stuff like that, right? And then like 4 or 5 years later, then we started seeing merch for One Punch Man, like stuff like that, like kind of a little more in the mainstream stores. Now you're seeing merch immediately, almost like release week of like an anime, almost like when you would see a new Marvel movie come out, right? There would already be merch, toys, all this stuff already hitting the floors. So we're seeing anime go super duper mainstream, and like, this is cool. I think this is cool. This is just like when I started to see superhero movies, Marvel comics and stuff like that go into the mainstream. So this is sweet. What does that mean for Anime Expo tickets? Who knows? I really don't ever want it to be like how I have to wait 5,000 years to get into Hall H at Comic-Con, but instead at Anime Expo. I hope it doesn't get like that, but at the same time, I think anime has now started to move in that direction. So,
nah, I mean, Anime Expo 2 years ago, the line was so bad that people's cosplays were melting in the sun on their way to Anime Expo. So, yeah, I don't know. Anime is big. Nerd culture is huge, obviously, with Marvel movies. You know, they even announced their like next few years of Marvel movies that people are so hyped about. Nerd culture has taken over 100%, and it's cool to see. Also, by the way, you have your mouse cursor like next to your face, and I don't know if that shows, but
it does not.
Just in case.
It does.
Just in case. Okay.
It does not.
Okay. Well, for me, it'll help, because now when I look at you, I won't see that.
I'm just helping you look at me. That's all. I'm trying to show you your crosshair
in the most aggravating way possible. Just having the mouse cursor just like slightly over me.
I'm watching Josh's eye twitch every time. He's like, Crim, get your.
But yeah, so that's kind of the big stuff with anime news, I think. Let's get in to the seasonal discussion. Let's see. I guess we'll just name off stuff and we'll just talk about it. I'm just gonna go from top down on my list, I guess. And first one, My Hero Academia. So most recently, they've been doing their like school battle arc thing, crew battle, I guess. And we get to see the team battle between Momo's group, the girl who can like create things from her skin, and then it is
Falco, but
I forgot.
Hot Topic Falco.
Yeah, Hot Topic Falco. You got Can't Stop Twinkling, which is the funniest thing ever when Dark Falco is like trying to talk to him. He's like, no, can't stop twinkling. It was like, oh my God, that's his hero name. Oh, I forgot until that moment, but
it's a name, and like I do love that he gets like a stomach. Like it's just like that character is such a meme. I kind of love it. You know, he gets like a stomach ache.
There's so many just
immediately.
meme characters in this show.
But I'm not gonna lie to you. Maybe this is the first time. I mean, I feel like this is the first time we've seen it in the show. And the manga guy. The manga guy. His name is literally Manga, and his ability is to essentially kind of just make it so that materialize like the words in comic books,
like onomatopoeia.
Yeah, onomatopoeia. Yeah, and I'm just like, this is so sick. Like this is such a meme ability, but like this is sick, right? Like I love that ability, and like that team had to have been the funniest team ever. We had Mushroom Girl, who literally said shroom every 30 seconds. And then
secretly scariest character, by the way. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But anyways,
like the way she like Takayumi, I think is what is like
Tokoyami.
Tokoyami.
That's Dark Falco's name.
Yeah, I kept calling him Takoyaki.
Takoyaki.
but that is not his name. But yeah, seeing that mushroom kind of like spawn and like spore in his lungs.
Yeah.
Yo, dude, that's kind of dark, dude. I'm like, okay.
That's so creepy.
So
I did not like that
she's
at
like
all.
like a few bad days away from just joining the like the villains
Yeah,
and being like just able to wreck everyone, right?
Yeah. She'd be a crazy assassin. Her powers are spooky.
We don't even know the radius, like how far she has to be. Does she have to look at you? Does does she have to have a strand of your hair? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it can't do. Like, what is the exact like radius of that power? Because that is a very powerful ability, but not nearly as cool as manga. Manga is the best. Like, okay, I don't know what's gonna happen to that character in the comics or in the manga, but like. In this timeline and in my world of what I know, that dude is sick, and I hope they do everything. They make him. They kick They just remove Deku. They remove everybody. They just said, boom. This is now a manga story, and I am here for it.
I just love that they put in such a wacky character like that in, because one of the appeals I think to JoJo's and One Piece and some of these other sort of like battle shonens is just like the wackiness of the powers, right?
Yeah.
And the manga guy, I mean, he's a wacky character. His literal face is like a manga panel thing.
Yeah.
And then so it was just goofy, and he gets a little moment to shine. And I don't know. Looking back at the past, because now we've resolved that one battle, and now I guess we get to see Deku's battle next. But like, honestly though, so far my hero hasn't really been hitting it that much for me. It's like, it's cool, I guess, but like, I have no emotional weight between like, they were trying to establish a sort of like thing between Momo and Big Hand Girl. I forgot her.
Like the
I'm
friendship.
so bad at names.
Like example, like how she's like, yeah, your powers are better than mine. So, like, I don't know, like to be put in the same group as you, like, I can't live with that. But I think I kind of share the same feelings that you do for this season so far, but it's not because it's a bad season by any means. It's that the pacing and like the way that like the ordering of the way that they told the story. I feel like the fact that this is coming right after that huge ending of season 4, then it kind of like we touched up on it in like one of the first 2 episodes of the podcast. How do you go from that to, by the way, back to class?
Back to class.
You know what I mean? Like,
here's an apocalyptic world-ending event, and be in school by 7 a.m. the next morning.
We're not gonna worry about the Nomus and the rest of them, like how these got here. We're not gonna touch up on that. And like, I think this is just something that I think if this is following the manga, I really hope. This is why it's nice to have the anime, and having an anime, you can rewrite it, restructure it, and move things around. Now, of course, some people will be like, but that could ruin it, or it's not true to the manga. But that just because it's not true to the manga doesn't mean it's necessarily bad either, right? Now, you can totally edit that and move this elsewhere, like earlier, and not have it so that the ending of season 4 just gets completely like the flame, the fire that the end of season 4 started just gets put out, and like now you're just like, all right, back to class. Cool.
Yeah.
So it went from such a super epic high to this really just kind of, it almost feels like a lull, and it takes away from how cool this arc could have been if it just were not right after season 4.
I think the other thing, like the problem for me so far is that there's just no emotional weight on any of this.
But
like,
there can't be.
They like tried to kind of tug at your heartstrings with like Momo and that other girl, Big Hand Girl's rivalry, but I just felt nothing. And so for me, it was like, okay, yeah, cool. Like, I get it. Like, the no moves, that's for the big boys, and we're still in school, so we gotta be good school children and do our thing. But yeah, I don't know. It just hasn't hit for me. But I'm hoping eventually, because of what they hinted in the early episodes, that like something cool will happen. But yeah, I see just nothing now. Just like the top floof of your hair.
That's what I'm here to show you. Just that.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
So yeah, anyways, that's My Hero Academia. Other show I wanted to talk about is To Your Eternity. This show continues to deliver over and over and over again. The show is just amazing, and I feel like it's been a hot minute since we've had a good classic fantasy story that doesn't involve like isekai or a modern day character or anything like that.
Yeah.
And this one's like very classically fantasy. And I think one of my favorite things about that is just everything just feels like a discovery. Every new thing we see, like it's I don't know. It's just strangely beautiful, and the animation, of course, and soundtrack, all that is beautiful as well. But really, the storytelling, I think, has just been amazing. And this time around, we get to see what happens with the attempted sacrifice ritual thing.
Yep.
And guess who comes up to show up as a big angry bear, and he's not having it. And so yeah, I don't know. It was just really cool.
That was an awesome scene watching. Oh man, I forgot the dog's name. Who becomes the boy? Yeah,
I don't remember either.
But that thing, that creature, that boy, whatever. It was such a cool fight scene watching them fight the bear and the dog. You're seeing the bear just clearly bigger than it in mass, overpowering it, shredding it, ripping it in half, literally, which by the way was very brutal. And then watching it still fight through it, the dog that is, and or the wolf, and it was so cool to see that, and on top of that, the world that it's in now at this point like I don't want to spoil too much. I won't go too in depth with it because I don't know how much you've already seen by now. But the thing is, like, just seeing that the world that you're in, there's still a Japan. And that the people that March is from, they're just off on this like secluded island. It's like this hold off island. It shows that there's a lot to this world, and I definitely want to explore more of it. So like
I mean, talking about today's episode, if that's cool. Yeah. Did you watch today's episode?
I did.
Okay. So we'll go into it.
That's how I know that. That's how I know.
Okay. Okay. So,
Yeah.
anyways, March's tribe, like, they live in huts, and they have like bone spears, and like they're very, I don't know. They're not technologically advanced, and then they go into this new area where the other lady's from, and they are very much advanced. They have a real society. They have markets. They have they're much more advanced. Like, if this was a civilization game, like, they're way ahead of the curve than March's.
They are, and like they did a good job showcasing that too. By the way, like when March is like, oh, send my parents a letter and write it for me, and it's like just handprint, or when they were just exploring the market and she just eats the potato. Right, straight up, and the vendor's just like, why? So it just shows like how different their cultures are, and how like pretty much they are very technologically behind compared to where the cool ninja lady is from. I don't know. She has the badass armor. I don't know. It looks like Monster Hunter armor. So like I'm just gonna. But like so this is why I love the show right now, and I get to, like, it started off tugging at your heartstrings, but now it feels like, okay, that's the sad part of the story, right? We got the really, really sad dark parts, and we're moving up now. We're building, You're finding out that, like, Doggo, Wolf Boy, can now actually say, like, thank you. And another line, it hurts, but I mean, and he says it over and over and over. But the thing is, it's cool watching, almost like it's like you're seeing it, like that character develop very slowly and right in front of you, watching him learn more sentences and whatnot. So after maybe like One Piece's duration of seasons, we'll probably be able to speak a full sentence. I don't know, but like,
maybe we'll see.
Maybe we'll see. But like for right now, I do like how they're building everything, and I hope they don't drag that too much. Because like if I feel like they could totally stretch this story, like this whole show out if they wanted, and that would be bad. So like there's things here that I do worry about, like where is this all going? But for right now, I'm enjoying the ride. I like everything that it's bringing and it's presenting, and I love the world that it's in.
Yeah, the show's great. All right, moving on. Another show that's been pretty hype for people, and I finally have kind of bought into. Oh wait, did you have something?
Oh, wait, hold on. And then it's like I thought we were gonna talk about the anime of my anime of the season.
Oh, we can do that. We can jump around. It's fine. Vivy?
Oh yeah, it's Vivy. It's Vivy.
Okay.
It's 100%
Vivy. All right, we're talking about Vivy. This show, if you're still haven't started watching this, I don't know what you're doing. You should be watching it. Like so far, Vivy is definitely like a front runner for anime of the season. Like the show is just so amazingly good. The animation, I feel like every time we talk about Vivy, we're talking about the same things because it's so consistently good. It's just like the animation's good, the soundtrack is beautiful, the way they incorporate the opening song into the scene is just beautiful. The story that it has to tell about humanity is also really up there. Like just all these different pieces are just so beautiful and haunting, and like I don't know, it's got something for everybody, I feel like. And so
This was the episode though. This one was the episode for me that hit like here, right in the feels though, right? You're watching the doctor kind of like struggle to let go of his AI, at this point now you probably have seen it, AI wife and whatnot. Yeah. So like, and you're kind of seeing how humanity works with, like can an AI and a human be in love and stuff like that. And then you're seeing what Vivy has to do, right? Like she has to do this. She doesn't want to, just like how she wanted to save the girl from the plane, but you can't do that because then you mess with the timeline. And you got to remember that there's going to be tons of points where you're going to be Vivy, and in her shoes, you're going to be like, yo, why don't you just stop that? No, you can't, because then you're here for one thing and one thing only, to alter the reality that the little GameCube is from. So like that is what you're here to do. And I really, really like how they play to that. It's like you can't do anything, you just kind of have to watch, and you like, or in this case, you have to just, even the doctor knows it's for the greater good. And this episode, I will say there's like, some content trigger warnings and stuff like that, specifically with like suicide and whatnot, like towards the end. So just be mindful of that. But this episode hits all the darkest checkboxes, and also like, the things that I like from it, and like from it's just a powerful moving anime. And I think the best thing about it is specifically the song, as you had mentioned, the intro song, and when they put it in, and it's just like, it adds to the moment, it adds to the feels of the whole. Yeah, it's such a beautiful.
Those first four notes, da, 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 it's just like, oh, I'm so hyped, and the way they bring it back in, it's so good.
And then it's just like sad as hell. It's like, what happened?
Talking a little bit more about the themes here is that. Like specifically in the plot, the doctor and his wife, they were to be happily ever after, like they had their wedding planned and everything. And then turned out that the wife AI had to be repurposed essentially to be part of this metal float project, which, by the way, I don't know, for whatever reason, I always think of Metal Gear. I'm like, oh, she's Metal Gear now. Anyways.
Shadow Moses.
And so I thought it was interesting because like, a lot of the patterns that she had learned in her previous life was being exhibited by the metal float, right? Like the idea like, oh, she knows that surprises are things that humans like. So she tries to surprise people in a way or another. And then the way they incorporate the song as like a tie into her personality. And then, you know, Vivy, eventually she makes the decision of like, okay, is I forgot her name. Grace?
Grace.
Is it Grace? I don't know.
It is Grace.
And she has to come up with the answer in her mind, which is, does Grace still exist? And in Vivy's case, she's like, I don't think so. She's only singing that tune because it's just something that's recorded in her brain. Her heart's gone, and so that's when she, you know, makes the idea. She like follows through with the plan, and she's like, you know what? I am going to ride this crazy cube motorcycle into the heart and kill her. And it was just one is that animation scene was
that was
amazing. And then also the scenery and everything was very like Nier-esque, you know, for any like Yoko Taro fans out there, like that ending scene to me was like, okay, we have ReZero's writer plus Yoko Taro. I didn't know that they were doing a collab for this, but it definitely had that kind of vibe. And like a little Ghost in the Shell a little bit too. It was a lot. This whole last arc so far has been really cool, and I just can't wait to see where they go with it, because every sort of mini arc that they've done, I mean, there's only 6 episodes or so, but they've gone through, you know, several mini arcs, and each one of them has been really cool and kind of tackles another idea about like AI and how it would integrate with society. And I don't know, I just like this show, man. I don't know what to say. The show's like, just dope.
It's just so well thought out, and like it brings back even the first guy she saved. If you remember when the building was collapsing. And you know, and he's been a reoccurring character, kind of like that shows up, and it's just like, yo, you can tell he hates AI. But then there's just, you know, his counter, which is what Vivy is, and it just feels like, yo, I'm showing you that being an AI isn't like the worst. You know, we're not that bad. Yeah. So I think like my speculation is that he is a key part to changing how the reality that the GameCube is from. He will it will have to do with him and convincing him to stop hating AIs. That's my theory now. That might not age well. It might be entirely wrong.
Yeah, okay. I mean, if we're just going to put ourselves out there and do some predictions, so I think it's interesting because that guy hates AIs, and for good reason, right? Because we know that in the future, AIs like go out of control and you know, mass murder everybody. And so basically, Vivy is offering this like basically a peace treaty of she's going to stop that from happening, and she needs him to cooperate, and they're actually on the same side, you know? So yeah, I feel like he's going to be super important because he is one of the only recurring characters in the show, especially because there are so many years that pass by between episodes sometimes. Oh God, what do I think? I think that Wheatley. I think of Wheatley from Portal 2. That's the floating cube. That's in my mind. That's Wheatley. Okay. I think Wheatley Matsumoto is actually.
There it is.
I feel like he has some weird connection to all of this, and that he's got some foul play, and it's actually going to be her and the other guy who are gonna work together to defeat Wheatley, the final boss. That's my prediction right now. No idea if it has any basis whatsoever, but we'll see.
Yeah, well,
that's kind of the fun, yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if this is like if there's like a light novel or anything or comic or manga.
It's not. It's fully original. Fully original. So no one knows.
So we're all in this together right now, like High School Musical style. All right, cool.
It's like Darling in the Franxx. You never know. Maybe a giant anime waifu in the sky appears.
Let's not ruin Vivy. Okay, let's not ruin Vivy here. Okay.
Well, judging from anime's history, Vivy might ruin itself. So.
Okay. But what if this is the one that's good though? Every now and then there's a solid ending.
Every now and then.
Every like 10 years there's one anime that ends all right.
Yeah.
Just one though, which is not exactly a good rate.
Yeah. But not a good rate.
But let's move on to the next one now. So you were talking about one that I think we were also. This is also something we might have been shared similar feelings for. We both weren't too crazy on the hype that when it came out and when it started. So why don't you lead us into that anime?
All right, yeah. So yeah, like Crim said, there was an anime that a lot of people were hyped on. It was like one of the most upvoted threads on our anime, but Crim and I were kind of like, yeah, I don't know. 86. However, I will say
It was not
that this
an
last
Initial D
episode
spinoff. That's that's what I thought it was.
the latest episode of 86 made me actually kind of like the show. It actually explored something that I think is very culturally relevant to today's age, which is the kind of idea about like you can want social change and not actually do anything about it. And even if you think that you're doing about it, you're not actually doing anything about it. And I thought that was a really interesting thing. And she comes into full, like, she has to deal with that, you know. The way they portrayed in the last episode was that, you know, she says all this stuff about like how she wants to be, you know, chums with all the people in the 86 crew. And they're like, yo, you didn't even ask us our names, you know?
Yeah.
You don't even think of us as humans first. You just thought of yourself as our superior, and this is like our this was our relationship, and you trying to be chummy with us is actually an insult to us. And that was like shocking to her, and it was something that she had to confront to herself. And one of my favorite conversations of this last episode is the one that she has with her friend, because her friend is like, you know, just relax, just eat your pudding, just enjoy your comfortable life. You got dealt good cards, and so you should just take it. And this is where I kind of turned around on the main character, because like up until this point, I was like, man, the main character's like kind of naive and kind of childish in some ways, and so I didn't really understand why I wanted to root for her. But you know, it was in that moment where she was like, no, you know, I do have it nice, I do have, you know, and it was wrong of me to do what I did, and I want to apologize for it, and I want to make up for it. And they even further reinforce this point in that episode where they she talks to her uncle, who's like another person in the military, and then they have an anecdote with her dad and about the way his dad died. And basically her dad died being as naive as her. The way that they portrayed it was that like he literally thought that only people from the 86 could die in a war because there wasn't a part of him that even believed that like real human beings could get hurt in war. And that's how far gone he was in this belief. And so like the whole episode really was just about this idea of like, if you're going to try doing something about it, you have to really understand all the root things. And I thought that was so culturally relevant to today, where like, you know, with stuff like Black Lives Matter and like, you know, all this other stuff where like lots of people want to talk the talk, but don't really understand how far you kind of have to understand how to walk the walk. And I thought this was like a great episode kind of talking about that, and how like you really have to like empathize and get their story to really understand. You can't just speak for them. And
listen, actually listen, right? Yeah, and
yes,
what the stories that are being told, the things that are being said, just listen. And like it's more than just like a simple like exactly. I drew those same parallels because it's just like so relevant right now with all the stuff, Asian hate stuff, you know, Black Lives Matter. There's all these things going on right now, and it's so much more than just like a hashtag and like all of this other stuff. You have to do more than that, right? And so like just seeing this is the first time I finally saw some depth to this character, the main character.
Yes,
and that I think that's why I'm like, okay. I kind of like her. I have something that kind of anchors the show. And, you know, now I kind of want to watch and see how things like play out, right? But like this, I will admit, this is episode 4. So it took 3 episodes of very, 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 is it episode 4 or is it 3? No, this is episode 4, and it took a lot of building to get here. But so far, now that we're here, I'm happy. I'm happy that the main character just has something to her. She's she's got depth to it, and I love the message. Or I'm very curious to see what they do with the message that they're kind of like, you know, talking about right now in the show. So yeah, this is okay. All right, I'm happy I haven't dropped it yet. So so like this is a good one. This is a good one, and I think like if you're much like how like a few shows, there's a ton of animes that start off really slow and then the payoff has been super duper worth it. I'm hoping this show follows that. So don't give up on it. Just keep watching through. I think after you get through the first 3 episodes or so, you're gonna start seeing the development you want.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes to show like sometimes you need more than a couple of episodes to really understand what the show's about. And so yeah, anyways, that's 86. Another show that I think has also had an upswing recently is Tokyo Revengers. So I haven't watched the most recent episode. I didn't realize I missed it. But basically we get further into the like mission that the main character is going for, which is to make sure that these two gang leaders don't talk. And so the last episode that I watched was when he's introduced to the first of the two really important people, and he's just like kind of unassuming blonde kid who hangs around with this other really tall guy.
Yeah.
I forgot everybody's name already, by the way. I don't remember a single name. I think
the one
whenever
thing
we
people
have these discussions,
like if you are listening to this, we have not remembered a single name. When you watch anime for like this much, how can you remember every single name? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think it's.
I'm just I'm bad with names in real life, anyways. Like this doesn't help. Okay, so the guy's name is Sano Manjiro.
Yep. Of the Manjiro street gang.
Yeah, because the Manjiro clan. Yep. And then the main character is Takemichi, and he's the guy that is like time looping to figure this stuff out. So, but yeah, anyways, so those two finally meet, and it was cool because we were watching him get the shit beaten out of him. Like he's getting murdered and by this gang guy, and he's like literally about to like kill him. He was like, "Give me my bat. I'm a you know." By the way, that guy's lame, so lame. Anyways,
yeah, of course.
But the fight gets broken up by Manjiro, who comes in to save the day, and he's like, "Man, you are like an eyesore." However, he's like, "Takemichi, I have an interest in you," and so we get to learn more about this guy, and he's kind of a weirdo. You know, he just like shows up to a different school in the middle of the day, barges into class, and he's just like, "Hey, let's go hang." And the teacher's like, "Excuse me, there's class going on right now." And so that moment was really, that stood out to me. And then right after that, the girlfriend comes out and she's like, "I'm going to protect my boy here," and she just slaps him across the face. And at that moment, I was like, what's going to happen? Because like they built up this guy to be like, he's the head honcho. He's crazy, man. He don't get on his bad side. And turns out he's kind of a softie in some ways. He's like a pretty good guy, all things considered.
I think what it is because it shows that he has like a code, right? Like a system, right? And it kind of reminds me of like a little bit of the feel, like the show feels like it's like an anime version of almost like a little bit of The Outsiders, right? And so there's these gangs, there's these street crews, but there's like a code to it, right? And
how old is Outsiders now?
I probably old. It was old, I think, by the time when I saw it. So
yeah, 1983.
Yeah. So, but I read the book first, so that I think everybody reads it at some point. But yeah, like this show has been slowly building in the right direction. So just like how Xell had just mentioned, it's wild to see this like feared human, in the future and whatnot. And then this is, I mean, I've seen the most recent episode, and like, when Takemichi comes back and is starting to talk to Hina's brother, and like in Naoto, and in current time, and he's just like, yo, it's not him. It's not Sano, like Manjiro Sano. There's something must have happened. Yeah. And so the most recent episode, that's like, that's what we're delving into, figuring out what has happened and what made it so he ended up that way. And I'm not going to spoil too much, but I will say that the most current episode, which is now, I think, episode 4 or 5, and like for those that have watched when you see this, you know exactly who I'm talking about. The way it ends, wow. This show is building up, and I like this went from like, I think from when we started this season, middle of the pack for me, something I'm going to watch like as we're running out of animes to watch for the season. But this is now moved up. This isn't, Vivy, But like this is a solid anime and one that I am active. Like I'm probably more hyped on this than I am for like My Hero right now and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this show is rapidly climbing up, and I do worry about this kind of stuff though because it is time related, and you know the last one that kind of had time and didn't end too well. So, but for right now, Tokyo Revengers is giving me everything that I want. This is just it's good. I want to find out about all the characters, like, you know, in the past, who they were and what they're like now. And the show is doing that. It's bringing me to current time, seeing Naoto. And they even go into explaining the minor details. Like, hey, next time you go time traveling, you need to be in my office. Because your body is just like an empty shell and you're like essentially AFK. So I have to hook you up to an IV bag. So like they planned that out, right? They're like, well, what happens to his body when this happens? So this shows that they're paying attention to detail and like very minor details. And I can definitely appreciate that because if they're doing that here already at the very start of the show and at the smallest levels, that means there's got to be hope for something at the bigger stage. So
yeah, I honestly kind of hope that they don't really take too much time with the time travel stuff of it because I think it's like the least interesting part to me of this whole show. And I just hope that, you know, I don't want to hear about the rules of time travel. Just let it be a vehicle for the story. And then I just want to see the actual characters because the characters have been really interesting and I want to see them interact more and just see what happens. So Tokyo Revengers on the up and up for sure. It stonks. Anime stonks.
Anime stonks. And also Hinata, like badass girlfriend. Yeah. Hell yeah. Okay, cool.
We like to see non-doormat characters, you know. So
I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of non-doormat characters. No Sakuras, please. So that's definitely one of the I would say like the ones that are climbing up for me on my list. But I think there's a few other animes too that we're also watching. So by now I've already dropped Slime Diaries. I just watched the most recent episode, so I'm done with that. Are you still watching that?
Nope. I dropped it already 2 weeks back. I was like, I
held on. I held on because I like these characters.
Same. I like these characters, but it just didn't show anything that I felt like I needed from that show. So I was like, you know what? It's fine. I'm just
which
into
is
the
really
garbage
sad.
can.
Which is really sad because like these are characters that were, I mean, at least in the main storyline in the main show, were kind of like pretty solid characters, well written, fun, enjoyable, and like even somewhat relatable. But like this, it's just like they made it. It doesn't even feel like it's them. It just kind of seems boring, and it really does feel like a bunch of B-sides stitched together.
Yeah, it has none of the heart of the main line of the series, and so I don't know.
I'm dropping it. I don't know. Maybe we're wrong, or maybe we're wrong to do so, and you can drop us a hint and clue on why we should hang on, or maybe you've also dropped. But let's move on from like, you know, not so great slime to a much better slime this season.
So I have a hot take here.
Okay.
This show's actually going down for me. Slime 300.
Uh-huh.
Yep, Slime 300. It's going down for me mainly because I just hated the elf girl's whole episode. Essentially, I just thought she's an annoying fan service character. I was just like, I'd like. Do you really? Okay, every time they introduce her, anytime that she appears on the screen, it's like, boing! It's like, hi, I'm an elf girl with big titties. Boing! It's me. Hello. It's like, okay, we get it. We've seen your introduction, and then it's like one scene later, and then she comes back. Boing! It's like, hello, did you miss me? It's elf girl with big titties. And it's like, oh god, please, like, I get it, ha ha ha, and so like for me, it was like. They were like trying to tell the same joke 15 times throughout that episode. I was like, I get it. She's dumb and she's got big boobies and she's an elf girl. Got it. Like, fine.
They should have said
I did like the introduction
louder.
of Beelzebub, so that was nice. But
Beelzebub is amazing.
Yeah,
but wait,
she's dope. And in the most recent episode, she's also super dope.
With the dragons.
Yes, and the dragon wedding. And then also the dragon wedding too was like, it was just...
It was dumb.
So dumb, but I did like it.
Yeah,
like
right? Like, but it's great. So, I mean, okay. Maybe because, I don't know, I guess for somehow I wasn't focusing on the boing. So
How could you not? They literally did that like 15 times.
But that's just because all camera angles and like shots, just like how J.J. Abrams will always use a lens flare that pans out from the bottom, like reliably.
It's not as obtrusive as like.
Yeah. Cover your eyes.
For the podcast viewers, you're missing out here.
Oh, is it me? I'm the elf girl.
The TOS.
Oh,
there's a
did you
TOS.
miss this, boy?
Okay.
Oh, hello. I'm elf girl.
And I can only be shot slightly from behind with my butt.
Or like the camera angles that are attached to her are like, yo, all right, I see what you're doing here. But I saw her, I thought she was funny because she just felt like she was the stoner. Right? Because she was like, oh, dude, I'm always like, she actually is selling mushrooms and all this other stuff, essentially. It's
energy drink.
She says, yeah. And she also has no idea, like, which she's like disorganized. She has like that tray, and she's just like, oh, I just started eating all the mushrooms. Oh, I forgot to separate the ones that, like, the ones that make you hallucinate into the sun. And so, yeah, like, she's this fan servicey character. I get it, but I see her as the humorous, just like stoner. Whoa, dude, Abba Zabba, you're my only friend. Like that kind of stuff. So,
gotcha.
So like maybe that's why the boing is easier to like overlook, right? As much as it is literally in my face, because there are things in the show that are still good, right? You still have the core set of characters. You have Beelzebub, and even Elf Girl has her charming parts. Like, she's completely wasted at the dragon wedding, right? Like, so, they have every character covered. And
I mean, yeah.
The dragon wedding is, come on, that's just good, clean fun. Like,
I love the plot setup for it. It's like, okay, we got to go to this dragon wedding because our dragon girl's sister's getting married, and they're getting married, and then the blue dragons show up, and they're like, we don't like you having fun. Let's fight. And
that is like a direct translation from like.
They're like, we just don't like you guys, and so we're gonna ruin this wedding.
Yeah, that is actually what and then they went and duked it out.
Yeah. By the way, animation for the witch fighting the dragons, surprisingly good. I was not expecting that, but the action shots were kind of hype, and so that was kind of fun.
So if I were to, like, if everyone at home right now, apparently the only thing that might be a takeaway is if you're a fan or not a fan of like very, very plot heavy elf girls. So because like otherwise I think the show is still solid. It still gives you what you love. I mean, it's not reinventing the wheel of anime or whatever, but I mean, you kind of knew that going into this. It's just cute stuff happening some more. It's killing it. It's giving me exactly just that.
I mean, I'm kind of all about this. I mean, the show has now turned into like power lesbian household couple raises slime children. The show. And I'm for it. I'm for it. Like okay, so to kind of clarify what exactly I meant by like I feel like the show's going down a little bit is that there are just some tropey moments that I just felt kind of disingenuous to the show a little bit, because like going the first couple of episodes, it felt like a show where it's about this girl who is finding her way and like trying to reinvent her life, and she meets other colorful characters, and it's all about like having fun and whatnot. And then just like the gratuitous amount of fan service around this elf girl, I was just like, well, if that happens, then I hope like other like dumb fantasy like tropey stuff doesn't also occur. I guess, I mean, tropes aren't necessarily bad, but it just felt like lazy and just kind of ham-fisted in for no good reason, I guess. And that's the big problem that I had with it. But honestly, I'm having fun watching the show.
I think the reason that is because they want to cover every character, right? They want to give that character for everyone. Because like a show that I thought was hilariously cute and kind of like has a parallel to this would be Dragon Maid, right? Mm-hmm. Cute show, and then of course I forgot her name, but there was also the busty dragon girl who literally just like, it feels like almost like a carbon copy of the elf girl, right? Like, or the elf girl's a carbon copy of her when it comes to like her scenes. So I feel like they just, it's just one of those things they have to put in, or they do put in, right? Because
dude, I'm telling you, like, I just wish. we'll do this is an episode idea that we have down the line where we talk about like tropes. That we dislike, but like you cannot argue with me and say that Fire Force would have been a better off show without Tamaki. I'm just saying Fire Force would have been way better without Tamaki.
Okay, it's that.
Yes, Crim?
No.
You got something to say?
That is okay. Hold on, let me think here because I do like Fire Force a lot.
And would it have been better without just absolute random Tamaki moments?
Her falling and then her clothes flying off. I don't know. I mean, like, okay, I think she's a funny character. She has things that benefit the show, right? she's nowhere near the other characters though, right? Like I love Lisa. I love all these other characters a lot more, but so I guess, you know, the Tamaki.
We already have Maki. We don't need Tamaki.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Maki is literally my wallpaper right now on my computer. So, right
anyways.
now. So, but I mean, that's another discussion. Okay,
yeah,
but
this is a whole nother discussion.
I gotta think about that. This is one of those things I gotta sit on the toilet, whatever. Just sit and think for a minute. Like,
we'll tune in back with you in just a moment.
Exactly.
But yeah, so anyways, that's Line 300. I think both of us can just say that, like, hey, this is a fun show. I like the lighthearted energy. Like, I love how dumb the wedding plot was, and they just kind of roll with it. They're like, you know, it doesn't need to be fancy or set up. It's just like, yeah, here we go, conflict, I guess. And no.
And you know the conflict, no matter what's always going to end in the cutest way, right? Like, so far it has been. So that it's at least given us what we expect. And this is a perfect example of like a solid B anime, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just it's gonna give you what you want. It's fun, but it's nothing more than like it's everything at face value, and then that's it. So,
yep, that's that's Line 300. Okay, this is shifting gears quite a bit, but the next one on my list to talk about is Megalo Box, Nomad. Wow, this show is already so different than season 1 for me. Season 1 had a bunch of non-characters with fights that didn't really pay off all that well. Season 2 is all the opposite of that. Every character has something really interesting going on. And the fight that happened too was also very interesting, and the way they built up the character. I forgot his name. Oh my God, I gotta look this up. But basically we get the resolution of the real boxer story and kind of talking about the immigrant struggle to have a, you know, plot of land in, I guess this is supposed America, right?
Yeah. I think that's what it looks like it is. So
yeah. And so I like it. It was also the restoration arc for our boy Joe, who was kind of down in the dumps, but through I'm going to look this up right now because I can't just call him the real boxer over and over again, can I? I guess I could.
I mean,
okay, Chief. So Chief, you know, like through training Chief and Chief's sort of wisdom, Joe sort of relearns how to be a human being again. And yeah, I don't know. I love this whole arc.
By the way, like, he's clean now. He's off his meds, all that stuff. So, you know, you kind of seen like Joe kind of just struggle with, like, you know, getting sober again. And now you've seen that progression, and now Joe is like, okay, I can actually start fighting again with a clear head.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I don't know really what to say. Is that, like, I thought this arc has been really good. Now I'm kind of curious where Megalo Box goes from here now that Joe's, like, clean. Like, do we just now restart the whole, like, return to glory thing for Joe? Or, like, he still kind of has to find his redemption with his home, which is, like, a big theme of this arc was, like, the idea of, like, home is the place that you return to, even if you may feel unwanted. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm very curious where it goes from here. But wow, Megalo Box 2 so far has been great.
I mean, it's hitting all, like, some pretty deep topics here. I think this is already better than season 1, right? Like, this is just strictly better than season 1 so far, because now I feel like season 1 was meant to capture, like, you know, the high flying, action-packed Joe. Like, this is Joe, gearless Joe, right?
Yeah,
it's
rise to glory.
Exactly. His shot straight to the top. And then This season is all about when you actually get the depth of Joe, and that's when you see him go to his lowest points, and they really put him right at the start of the season at his lowest points, and now he, like, you know, you're seeing, but they're also bringing in, like, you know, immigration issues and stuff like that too with Chief, and, you know,
racism, and all that,
like all of that. So I didn't expect this to happen, and like it happened to this level from season 2 of Megalo Box, but this is a deep season so far, and I am loving every second of it. Even down to like the music that they're adding into it. It feels perfect with the show. Like the soundtrack is perfect this season. It went a little away from like the science, like, you know, sci-fi futuristic hip hop thing, and now it's very much so just like Western, you know, it's got like mariachi like influences and stuff like that. Like this is just a well thought out season from every standpoint so far, from the characters, the depth of the characters, to the music that like is just down to the music in the episodes. Very well placed.
And I think also you can also just start with the season. So if you haven't watched the first season of Megalobox, I don't think you have to really.
No,
you haven't really missed out on anything.
No,
you know, the only thing is, I think you can just skip first season. I think the first season is not super worth watching. But so far, this one has been great.
Pops, you miss out on like what makes Gearless Joe the great boxer, right? That he was. You need to see it. You need to see him get to the top.
You really don't. All you have to know is that he was once great, and he had a coach that he apparently backstabbed. That's it. Okay. All right. Boom. Done. And
no,
so
you are downplaying that. Come on.
No, that's it. That's all you missed. That's all you missed. You really did not miss that much. You can just start from the good point, which is season 2.
Start from season 1.
Don't listen to Crim. Crim thinks Fairy Tail is a good anime.
Fairy Tail is more enjoyable. Okay, I will state this again. Fairy Tail was more enjoyable for its a longer duration than Naruto was. Just saying.
Oh, which is why we talk about Naruto, and there's like Naruto merch out there, and Fairy Tail where? Fairy Tail who?
Look. There's Dragon Ball Super merch, and that sucked.
Did people run around doing Fairy Tail runs? I don't think so.
I did.
Yeah, well, I don't even know what the Fairy Tail run is. Okay,
I don't think there is. But
just saying.
Okay, whatever. But like, you should start with season 1 because I think it's important. It's very important that you see Joe. Like, it's like you get to see him get to that elevated status of legend. You gotta see that to then understand how much of a fall that he's taking. You
just see the title card, right? You're just like, he was a legend. Boom. That's it. Let me wrap up season 1 in a sentence for you. There is boxers with gears, which are metal attachments, and Joe becomes the best. The end.
Gearless Joe, by the way, who doesn't need all those
we solved it. Season 1 in 2 sentences. Thank you for the teamwork, Crim. Okay, you've proven my point. So anyways, that's Megalo Box season 2. The next anime I want to talk about is Shadow's House. I know, Crim, you haven't fully caught up.
No.
But this show has been, again, just like one of the underdogs for me alongside Vivy. The show is just wonderfully dark and creepy. And I don't know. It's funny because I look at some of the people online talking about the show, and like I think there are people who are more mixed about it than I am. But I actually really love... I don't know. I think the vibe really works for me. By the way, also has one of the best ending songs, just period. Just this ending song is just so perfect for the show. And in the last few episodes, they've again expanded on the world, and we got to see a little bit more about what's going on in the Shadow's house. And I don't know. Crim, I just gotta say, you gotta catch up, man. This show's really good.
I definitely like the show. It's so far, it's kind of felt like Goosebumps mixed in there too, right? Like,
a little bit.
It's like Miyazaki fused with, like, if it's like R.L. Stein, Miyazaki just put their ideas together. That's the show.
That's quite a collab there.
Yeah, that's quite a collab, but it's one that, like, when you watch it, you'll see, right? Like, it kind of just makes sense. And the show's good. I think the only reason why I haven't caught up on it is because I've been watching everything, and also it's just been like cramming tons of shows. So I kind of forget to like watch that one. I'm only 2 episodes behind though. It's only at 4, right?
I think it's only at 4. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll catch up. So far though, the show is like pretty solid from the 2 episodes I've seen. So.
So yeah, I don't think there's really much to talk about there yet, but I do really like it.
At
a show
its
that
mid-season point, right now it's at its mid-season point. We're all close.
Almost.
We're almost approaching
there.
Has it decreased in like quality to you? Like I
not at all. Like I think right now, if I was to say like stonks, for anime, it's not quite stonks because I felt like it started really well, and I think it's just been good. So it's like an Amazon stock. You're just like, it's expensive to buy in, but it's just been good. It's just been good. So like, no complaints.
Yeah, because like I am curious, because we are hitting that mid-season point for a good amount of these shows that we're talking about. And so far, some of them are excelling and some are trending downwards. So I'm just curious, where you are on that.
Yeah. And I also think that it's just a pretty unique space in anime to have something that's kind of like, it does kind of feel like creepypasta in the anime a little bit. And so, it kind of feels like that's where it like was born from. And so like it's just a different vibe, I think, than a lot of the other anime that I've seen recently. So like, because like horror is not a genre that you see done particularly well in anime,
which bums
and I wouldn't even call it like
out.
Horror necessarily.
But I mean, this is the closest thing we're gonna get to horror, right? Like, so
yeah,
I want
it's creepier.
Sure, creepier, but like this is I want more horror anime. Like, when was the last time we had a good one, right? It's
been a long time. Horror's not one that like I remember excitedly watching the Junji Ito animes and just being so disappointed.
I would just read it.
Yeah.
See, so like so would you say then the last good horror one would you count Parasite, Maxim?
It's like, I mean,
it's
it like has
horror.
gore and stuff, but it's like not really a horror. Right? Like the intent isn't necessarily to be scary. So like, yeah, I really don't know. Horror is definitely like a genre that's underrepresented in anime.
I don't think it has to be like scary because like I would say like example Hellsing. We talked about it last week. Hellsing Ultimate. That's like horror, but it's not. It's not scary, right? It's just badass and whatnot. But it has the horror spooky elements in like for aesthetics. So
it has the horror
speaking,
themes.
Like Ajin, I hated that. You said you watched that.
Mm-hmm. Ajin wasn't really horror for me either. I don't know.
But it has.
It's been a while.
But it has the the elements of horror, like the paranormal stuff, and whatnot. So like, I think if we're going by that, right? Like, so I think would you say Jujutsu Kaisen has some horror elements to it? Because it almost feels like it
could have the occult stuff a little bit,
Because I am curious, what's the last good horror anime?
I feel like I really liked Boogie Pop when that was out a few seasons back because it had like a kind of like a ghost story vibe a little bit. But I don't know, man. Maybe it's hard. I'd have to like really think about it.
Because if that's the case, and we really have to think that hard about it, right? Because the only one that is a clear front runner for me is Hellsing Ultimate, but that's 2006, right? so it's been like 15 years since we have a really good horror-ish like show, right? And if that's the case, then I maybe Shadow's House could be
Hellsing Ultimate. If it was a person, would be driving around right now. That DVD case has a driver's license.
Yeah, it just got its permit. So yeah, like that. Oh my god! Please make good, like better horror animes because I want more of it. I want a lot more of it.
So yeah. Anyways, next anime we can talk about. I think Crim, one of the ones that you've been watching, Nagatoro-San. Are you still catching up with that one?
Caught up on that one, actually.
Ooh, all right. Tell us about it. Okay,
so Nagatoro, I think this is a show that I started off kind of just, it had a souring taste in my mouth, right? I was I'm not really a fan of this. First episode, I definitely was like, okay, so everything I thought was true. Then I had mentioned like a few weeks ago that you start seeing the development, right? Of Nagatoro and you see her and like how she's, it is really just like the playground, like, classic girl likes boy, or so far this is the vibe I'm getting from it. Girl likes boy, but isn't able to tell him, so she just picks on him, You know what I mean? And it is that classic tale, I guess, of playground rules kind of thing. And
yeah.
She's oddly getting better, and in a way that we kind of enjoy. Like, she goes from just being, oh my god, I hate you, to like lovable, like how Umaru is like lovable, right? That inner like little gremlin demon that we all have in us. So I'm starting to actually really get like come around on the show. I think it's getting a lot better as I find out more, as I see more of her interactions, right, with the main character, and she's starting to like defend him and get jealous if like her friends, who are also kind of like the same type of girls, just like a bunch of a-holes, and try to bully him and all of that, but she like stands up for him. And so you're starting to see where it's like, okay, hold on, she's only this is her way of being open and herself and comfortable around only one person, because there's an episode, I think it's episode 3, she goes on a date or with her friend, and she meets these 2 guys, they're like, I'm the hot rock star guy or whatever, right? and so they go on these dates, right? Like, oh, I'm in a band, yada yada yada. And then but she's like this monotoned, like just like straight face, like, cool, dude, I think your music sucks, right? but she's like, just very serious, very monotone, and not the way she normally is. And the girl that we know, like from like around the main character, and this is the show's way of like showing you that she is just with this, like this with the main character. So yeah, I am excited to see where this goes, and it just seems like another one of those shows where like it starts off with the character just being miserable and like just cannot stand this character. But much like Alphino in Final Fantasy XIV, I eventually came around to liking the character.
Yeah. I like that little reference there. Yeah.
Yeah. But like,
because you totally watched this all the cutscenes. Right?
I did. I most of them. Anyways, so I will say that like the show's gotten better. And you're just seeing their chemistry kind of like click now, and it's making me really invested in the show, and really happy that I gave it a shot.
Dope. Yeah, maybe at some point, maybe I'll catch up on Nagatoro-San. One of the shows that I'm currently watching, I don't know if you're watching this one, is Zombieland Saga, the 2nd season. I'll just quickly mention what happens. Basically, the big idol group comes back into town. Iron Frill and is one of their past members is actually now a member of the current Zombieland crew. So it's this weird dichotomy where there's this like push-pull relationship with the girl who is now zombified but used to be part of Iron Frill, and kind of talking about like, hey, like, are we a group that's carried by this one superstar, or what is our worth without her? And so
classic front person,
yeah, exactly, like the classic band frontman problem.
Yeah.
But I think like they did it with a lot of tact and a lot of heart, and I actually really enjoy these last 2 episodes. And Zombieland Saga for me, I just like, there's something really absurdly funny about it, because like if this was just a standard idol show, I feel like my eyes would kind of glaze, because I'm like, oh, okay, I've seen it before. But like the addition of like the idol and like the zaniness that happens because of the context of the zombies and like whatnot, it's so funny. Like, so basically in this last episode, one of the girls is feeling really depressed because she's like, without our front man, I feel like we're just nothings. We're just nobodies. We're just hanging on to her glory. And she really deserves to be part of that old group who's like killing it right now. And the manager comes in, and he's this loudmouth guy, and he comes in with the guitar, and he's like, "Bow!" And he's like, no, you must believe in yourself. Ka-bow! Like, I've had this guitar and it's motivated me, and maybe it'll motivate you. Ka-bow! And so the first song that they play in their joint concert with Iron Frill, she's like playing, rocking out on the guitar, and at the end of it, she just smashes excuse my language, smashes the guitar. Bleep that one out. Sorry about that, Don. And smashes the guitar, and the manager's like, that's not what I meant by, go out there and kill it.
That's my favorite guitar.
Yeah. So meanwhile, like, the manager's crying, but all the girls are cheering. I don't know. It's like the show has just so much absurdity to it, and I just love it. And so for me, the 2nd season has been fantastic, just as much as the 1st season. And so if you have not watched the 1st season, definitely watch it. Unlike Megalo Box, the 1st season is great. And so... I just gotta keep throwing these daggers.
Where's that jab coming from, dude? I just wasn't ready. I was like, excuse me? Wait, hold on. Where did that come from?
See, if I was in Megalo Box, you gotta watch out for my jabs, But yeah, Zombieland Saga has been great, and I just love it. So, Zombieland Saga.
I think a few other animes I want to touch upon. I think these are the ones that I'm mostly just watching, but I'll go through them pretty quick. So we have, How Not to Summon a Demonlord. I'm gonna be honest with you. This show, if you're into your plot heavy booby anime, this has not let you down. This is pretty much the same show from season 1. So if you like season 1, you're gonna like season 2 so far, or at least it's felt the same to me. And then of course, I think one of the ones that I wanted to make sure I got to was the Saint's magical power is Omnipotent. This show is cute as hell because it's an isekai, and the 19,000th isekai from this season. But the thing here is, she's just in this world, and she's able to make everything she does is like 50% better than like everyone else's. So like her I told you, like last week, she wanted to just make some skin cream to make it so that the bags on her eyes goes away. But what that actually ends up doing is that she's so good at her, like she has so much powerful magic coursing through her, it actually cures her bad eyesight, and she loses her glasses. She doesn't need them anymore. And so this episode, the main character is Sei is finally able. I don't know how I remember the one random name, but so Sei is able to just kind of like, she's kind of at this crossroads where she needs to figure out: am I gonna go out there? Am I gonna just keep am I gonna keep using my magic and exposing myself? Because she's aware that she's probably the Saint by now, and there's somebody else going around saying that they're the Saint, and Sei believes that it can't be her because her power is actually that of the Saint's power. So she's been trying to just live this quiet life. This is the basic synopsis of just, from episode 1. She doesn't want to make any big waves, big splashes or anything. Just kind of wants to fly by behind the scenes. But everything she does, she just keeps killing it, and word gets out. So this episode, you kind of see her come to the crossroads. Like, can I keep trying? Like, is it okay for me to lie about my power? Like hiding these powers is actually hurting the village and the castle and whatnot. And so you kind of see her address these issues, and you're gonna love the way it ends if you've been following along. The show is very cute, very wholesome, and it's definitely a lot slower when you think of like the isekais. Like, it's not gonna have like the action like sword arts and stuff like that, but it is going to. It has a lot of character development, a lot of story, and that's really just what you're there to see. Just Sei's everyday interactions and the next ridiculous thing that she does better than everyone else by. So
I love, by the way, that dichotomy of like, I have these powers, but I don't know if I want to be the one to have to use them, right? And so
it's the other side.
Like an interesting thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's the other side of with great power comes great responsibility, right? So it's like, you see Spider-Man who owns up to it. Then there's the enemy. He's like, I don't want to do it. So
it reminds me of my old AP stats teacher in high school, where he talked about how like he never wants to take the Mensa exam because like you either like fail it and you find out you're a dumbass, right? Or
Mensa, by the way, for the listeners at home and everyone watching, is essentially the think tank. It's like everybody that's got big brain power, like the grooviest of brains gather.
Maybe, right? Like Mensa is basically, I am very smart in a nutshell.
Yeah,
like you want to join a society of other people who think they're very smart. So if that sounds appealing to you, go sign it up. But you say like you either fail it and you find out that you're just dumb, and then otherwise you succeed and you realize that maybe I should be doing more than teaching stats in high school. And so I thought that was kind of funny and reminds me of. I feel like if you
take the test and you fail, it's not like you're dumb. I think it just means you're normal, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because like, oh darn, I passed the extremely brainy, like I failed the extremely brainy test. I guess I'm just normal then.
Yeah, but maybe normal.
Normal's good.
Okay,
Normal's
so
good.
that also reminds me of what this other comedian said, which is like, look, if you have 100 IQ, you're average, right?
Yeah.
And if you are average, think about how many other people out there that you know that are just like dumber than you and doing dumb things all the time, and just know that that's half the world right there. And so, like, think about how dumb you are, and if you're average, that half the people that you see are even dumber than that. That's a scary thought. Because I know how dumb I am.
Exactly.
I can't even remember the names of any of these characters of these shows that we watch religiously week to week, and I can't remember a single name.
Yeah.
And half the people out there are even dumber than that. So
I often say, like, if I were a smarter man, you know, like, and I know me, so if I think of it like that, it's like, whoo, jeez Louise.
Yeah. That's a woofer for sure.
But are there any other animes left on the list here? Because I think we've now about gone over the pretty, like, the ones we've been watching most of the season. Right?
One last one. Spider Isekai.
That's
the one. Spider Isekai. Again, the show continues to reel me in because, like, I don't get it really with the show and why, like, I just watch it week to week expecting something to happen, and it kind of never really does, but I still am enjoying it. And, like, I think really it's just like the main character just kind of hard carries the show.
Seriously,
and
she's the best part of the show. She's legitimately the reason why I watch the show.
Because, like, the animation is, like, not that good. The story is basically your generic isekai, but because of the main character's performance, I still feel like I'm engaged, and they finally kind of uncovered a couple of special things about the world of the show now, where they were like, they explain why people got isekai'd, and, like, they finally explained also the time difference between the Spider Girl and the other people, and, like, calling her start a head start, and then she also finally meets the Spider Queen, and up until that point, I kind of thought that, like, the Spider Lady was actually going to be her evolved into that, but, like, now we know for sure that's not the case at all. And so, I don't know. I'm kind of excited to see what happens, but again, it kind of is just another isekai, and it's one of those shows that I'm like, it's just barely good enough to keep me going, but, like, I you know, I'm still with it. So
this is a show that I was much higher on last season, and as the seasons progressed, I'm now an episode behind. Yeah, and, like, it's
I'm sorry.
Well, no. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. It's just kind of going down for me, right? Like, If you're gonna have the really wonky animations to, like, you know, like, very low tier animation, you got to have something, right? You got to make up for it somewhere else. And unfortunately, as much as I love the main character's voice acting, I think she can only carry the show so much, right? Like, because like, something does need to happen here.
I mean, the thing is, like, after, you know, it's technically episode 16, like, we get it. The main character's great. Yeah, and it's like, well, what else? What else you got? You know, like, strawberry ice cream, amazing the first time you have it. After a gallon, actually, it's still good after a gallon. I gotta choose a different flavor. But, like, you know, too much of a good thing, like, eventually you get sick of it and you want something different. It's kind of the same for this show, but not strawberry ice cream. I could eat.
Gross, dude. Dude, strawberry ice cream is gross. Like legitimately gross. Are you joking, dude? It's, like, actually gross. Dude, it's like it's nasty though. Like, it's kind of just that artificial fruit flavor. But it's, like, got that weird creamy texture from, like, ice cream, dude. It's like, like, when you get a Neapolitan ice cream, it's the other flavors are carrying. It is the one that is, like, in need of, like, picking up its, like come on, you know?
How dare you, Crim? How dare you? Oh my god. Not only is your taste in anime bad, I guess like shit taste just, like, affects everything.
It's universal. Go ahead.
I bet you sommeliers, you know, with their wine tasting abilities, they have great sense of anime.
Yeah. What if they told you to watch season 1 of Megalo Box? Because they would.
They probably wouldn't.
They would. They would.
They would.
They
but
would.
it's okay.
But they would. But okay. But like they would.
We'll agree to disagree here, and we'll have a fist fight in
Covered in
6
ice cream.
hours when I drive myself up there to beat your ass about the strawberry ice cream. So okay. Anyways, so yeah, that's the anime that we're watching this season.
Megalo Box season 3. Xell versus me.
They call me Gorilla Xell. I got the fast jab. Crim's not going to be ready. But yeah, that is going to be the end of today's podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks you guys so much for listening in, because we are on a new platform. We are on Podbean and Spotify, and hopefully soon on Apple Podcasts. So
We are gonna
you guys
be
can now enjoy the
everywhere.
podcast.
Also, thank you
Yeah.
for watching. Like we've been seeing everyone, just like it's been really cool seeing how many people are tuning in, watching all the, like, as the weeks go by, that, everything's just growing. So
Yeah.
I just want to say, from both Xell and I, thank you for supporting us on this wonderful little weeby little journey that we're going on here.
We appreciate all the people who have stopped by to comment on our videos so far, on our tweets,
subreddit.
in the subreddit. Thank you guys so much.
We hear the
And,
feedback, by the way. We're reading all of that, so we're taking all of that
Yeah.
into account when we do all of our stuff. So, yeah.
And please share us with other people that you guys know that love anime. I feel like we probably bring in a slightly different perspective, and
Yeah.
so I think
And then Xell would
you know,
maybe watch season 1 of Megalo Box.
I mean, I watched it. It just sucked. That's all. That's all I gotta say.
All right. Just cut his mic. Cut his mic. Where's Kelly? Get her to cut the mic.
Where's everyone?
And
Anyways.
I am now.
Welcome to the One Nii-San podcast.
Also, and before we go today, it is really hot where I'm at. My sleeves didn't just get green screened off. I don't normally wear a sleeveless shirt. I have like esports muscles, so this is like anchor arms. These are like little noodles here. So it is hot, dude. So, but yeah, I just wanted to address that now. I realized, dude, I'm not wearing a sleeve. So before someone says, "Oh, Crim's feeling saucy with his arms," no, I have nothing here. This is like a straight
You
line.
ended the episode. They've been watching you for an hour and like a half
it
now.
just crossed my mind now.
Yeah, well, they also got to see a picture of my ass too.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, we have like, look at that. We've seen Xell's ass, these guns.
These guns.
Editor, zoom in as much as you can to make this look good. Yeah, thank you for watching. As always, hit us with that sub. Hit us, with the likes, the following, the all the engagements. And of course, come hang out in our I was gonna say our Discord, but I meant to say is our subreddit. So, and then of course check us all out, Xell. Xell tweets on Twitter, twitch.tv/Xell, and of course me, the Asian Avenger, on everything, and twitch.tv/the Asian Avenger. So thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Don, for editing this, by the way, and also for making
He's
my
a
arms look
mastermind.
great.
And my ass.
Yes, help us look good. So yeah. Seriously though, also watch season 1 of Megalo Box. It's good. All right, everybody,
not.
bye. Thank you, and Xell's mic's
God.
cut off.
All right, stopping the recording. And we are the Nii-San podcast.
Boom.
You're not even trying. Come on.
I think I did it. Boom.
Boing.